I love this movie. I'm still going through throes of existential dread because of it. But this looked like so much fun and such a wildly creative environment for you both. And I'm sort of curious if playing Roger and Grace sort of unlocked something new and fresh for you as actors.
Well, I've known Amy a long time. I met her in 1987.
87.
Yes, and she looks exactly the same as when I met her, and and I've just watched her become this superb actress and quite acclaimed. So I was thrilled to finally get to work with her. So that was exciting to me, that we were going to be paired, and then in this, what would you call it? Offbeat in this section of the film, which is sort of black comedy, sort of this, this, and yet there's something sinister going on underneath. We're not quite sure. Things are not what they appear to be, and even though they're trying to put a good face on it, and so I thought all of that would be very interesting, and obviously to work with Ari Aster and Joaquin. But I was just thrilled to get to work with Amy.
Same, thank you, Nathan. And I as Nathan said, we've known each other for a long time, and I started seeing theater on my own in New York, and it was Nathan's performances that drew me into the theater over and over. And so to cut to 30 years later and to be on a set with him and to have, here's something I drew on is like, oh, I have this history with Nathan. I know him. We're going to be believable that we're a married couple. And yet I also have this, I hold Nathan up here. I still am in such awe of him as a person and as a phenomenal actor. And that is Grace to Roger. She just thinks he hung the moon, even in his, even when he's maybe having a harder time. But, so I kind of enjoyed getting to bring a bit of, fangirl to Nathan on camera.
Thank you.
But I think that worked well for us together, paired.
Yes.
For sure. As you spoke a little bit earlier, there's a certain rhythm to these scenes and a certain tone that you both hit so well in this. And I'm sort of curious, not everybody can balance that humor and sort of this dread sort of coursing underneath of being stuck in one place. And for this couple, you're very much metaphorically stuck in one place, which is the grief. I'm curious, how was it sort of getting to that point of modulating the performance for each of you? Is it something you rehearsed in advance, or did you just come on set and you were ready to go? Because you both are just so great as far as performing goes.
Ari was in my ear a bit, welcomed, about Grace and making sure to keep her on that brighter side, so I have to credit Ari for keep pulling me lighter and lighter, and before it got too maudlin for Grace. He just thinks she's the kindest woman. He kept saying things like that to me and keep her, she's full of love and compassion, and but
there were many discussions beforehand. Individually with Ari, and then together, and then Amy and I would sort of confer about what our backstories were, and that's yes. Again, with me, it was about this guy who's Ari wanted him to be incredibly upbeat. And everything's very positive, and everything's going to be okay. And don't worry, we're going to take care of you, and then we'll get you home as soon as you're physically able to do that. And and also it helps that he's at least he says he's a surgeon.
True.
Although when you look at the stitches or the sutures in his belly, you think, that doesn't look so good. That doesn't look so professional.
The first clue.
So perhaps maybe he's not a surgeon. He's not what he says he is. So all of that is, so in a way, this guy named Roger, it makes you question everything. This man named Roger, who says he's a surgeon, it's kind of performative. He's been told to do a certain thing and I think behave a certain way, and he's trying to live up to that, but he's not exactly a professional actor. He's just trying to be, and he's also trying to be a dad and trying to make this guy feel so much at home, because at one point he does say, he keeps referring to them as, they're going to be, like they're all going to become a family and he's going to stay with them. So the objective is to keep him there, essentially. And it's an interesting thing to have to play and figure out what the levels are in that.
Mm-hmm. Both of your characters have this distinct look, and I'm curious sort of how you went about forming your outside appearance. Was it like collaborating with the costume designers and the hair and makeup, and then also on the production design scene too, like the house that they're living in is so immersive, and I felt like I was in that house. So I'm curious how that sort of worked for you guys performing in that playhouse space.
Well, I have to credit, I did not choose these clothes. These clothes, I suppose, chose me. But it's that wonderful thing. Like, as much as an actor, you do your homework when you're home alone before you set out to location and before you meet the rest of the company. For myself, I start to make some decisions. But then when you meet this talented set decorator and our costumer, and there are the clothes, and it's like, well, of course I would wear that. I would never thought of that in a million years, but it just felt so wrong. It was right. So it pulls you out of, for me, it pulls me out of myself and any kind of self-consciousness. To look like Grace and Roger.
Right.
It's true to them.
Yeah.
Definitely not true to me and Nathan, but... Well,
I did say, the costume designer was just great, and she showed me these things, and I was, horrified, and said, yes, of course, give me those shorts and that shirt. But, I said to Ari, I think he should be in a tracksuit a lot of the time, but you never see him running. He's just always in a tracksuit, so I'm glad we got a tracksuit in there. There's, Ari pays such attention to detail. I'm sure that comes as no surprise when you see the film. What's going on in the background. And so the production designer, all of that is very carefully thought out by Ari and the designers.
It's as much a character in the film as we are, for sure.
Very much so. Thank you so much for speaking with me. And
Thank
again,
you.
I love you guys so much in this movie, but I would not want to spend any time with you guys as a couple in this movie. I'd never leave.
Thank you.